And here we go again. Hello folks, welcome back to another video. Denny is with you once again. I just had some DQ, had a double cheeseburger, can't go wrong. That is a tasty burger. May I have a sip of your beverage to wash it down? Hope you're doing well in this crazy world. Crazy world out there. It's also the name of a Scorpions album. Came out in 1990, I think. Great album. Winds of Change is on there, I believe. Yeah, and speaking of crazy things, it was a crazy day. Another grind it out kind of day. Pretty busy. Being a busybody, and that's a good sign. I've been getting a little bit of more work this week, so on weeks like this it's a little bit more difficult to record any type of content for the channel or video, but I will try to do that now. Thanks again to some of the new subscribers. They've trickled in since the last video, so I'm glad you're aboard and hope you can stay around and watch some more videos or go back to my catalog. It's kind of crazy. It feels like I just started recording videos, but I have over 50 of them already on my channel. That's another reminder of how time flies, and when you get older, being in my 40s now, it's like a week is like nothing, and a few months now on the channel just blew by. But yeah, if you're new, or even if you've been following for a while, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. It helps the channel. Still a very small channel. And I also have a PayPal donation link if you're extra kind and want to donate something to my small channel. And I accept super thanks. So you can leave a comment and a donation if you wish. Make me love a wishing well. Kiss and tell. Anyways, it being a kind of a long, tough day, I thought I'd just do a quick video on being motivated and staying motivated in middle age, and how it changes from when you were younger, and how much easier it was in your 20s to be motivated when you had your whole life ahead of you. You had more goals, things you wanted to accomplish, things you haven't experienced before that you wanted to. And yeah, just a different energy level. You're in a different time in your life where things are more exciting and new. And as you get to your 40s and mid 40s, like myself, that changes, and it's hard to stay motivated, at least consistently. It kind of comes and goes. Got a little bit of hand sanitizer here after I finish my meal. But yeah, I've just been thinking about that. What keeps people going? What gets you out of bed? Is it just the fact you have to just to live life? And what is life? What is the meaning of all this? Do you have a purpose or direction? If you're in your 40s or 50s, do you still have mountains to climb, or demons to conquer, or dragons to slay out there? Maybe let me know. Or are you just gonna be on cruise control now and just do what you have to do to survive? And that's what life is now for a lot of people, is just surviving, just doing what you have to do to pay the bills and to at least live a somewhat of a decent life in the modern world where you can afford your bills, like your electricity and maybe your TV cable, or to at least have a bit of entertainment in your life, your internet access, which is pretty much a necessity now. So you have to work to just keep that going, to keep the lights on in your place. If you have a vehicle, you need it to put gas in your vehicle so you could get around. And yeah, that's why we have to get up and go to work and do what we need to do. Otherwise, those things will just go away. We'll end up on the street if we don't. Which also is interesting. I was thinking about, goals and what you're trying to accomplish in the micro sense during the day, chores and errands and things you need to accomplish at work and all that. Bases you need to touch with people and emails you need to send and all that. These things you chip away at every day in your life. And then there's like the bigger macro things, which is like, saving up for retirement, trying to save some money, or maybe you're still young enough to where you want to maybe save up to purchase a home, or you're kind of eyeing a better vehicle or a lifestyle upgrade. So that stuff can be motivating, and that's a lot of people in their 30s and maybe even early 40s. But myself, I don't know, it's just kind of most days I'm just running in place and just keeping the wheels turning, keeping the ball bearings greased up so I can, as I said, afford things that I need to live a decent life. But I'm not really getting ahead, and I'm not really on the path where I can achieve bigger and better things. I would need probably a much longer timeline to accomplish that, and I don't have the time anymore. I don't have 30 or 40 years really to do this. It's more like 10. So yeah, it's can get discouraging and sad and frustrating at times, knowing that although I'm not doing bad, there's people in much worse positions than me, but I still have such large hills to climb, and I don't know if I have the motivation or the energy or the time left to do it. So that's something that I think about. But like I said, it's could be worse, and people have different motivations. They're in different stages of life, or some are in really bad spots. Like you think of homeless people, what motivates them, especially if you're a drug addict, because your whole life that is about getting drugs and getting high. That's all you're worried about. That's your whole life's mission. Every single day you wake up is to score drugs, get high, so you don't fall into that sober state of mind, which for some reason you can't handle, and it's a nightmare not being high. And everything else is second, third place. Getting high is the most important thing. Your interpersonal relationships don't matter. Maybe you don't have a job, if you're like somebody that's homeless that's on drugs, or even if you are an addict, but there's some functioning addicts that work, that have jobs and stuff, or they're squatting with friends, or maybe living with their parents or something, but all they do is get high, and they're not worried about saving money for retirement, or they're not worried about the bills, or even the next 20 minutes. They're just, right now I need to be on drugs, and that's all that matters in the world. So that's a person that's motivated, I guess, for the lack of a better term, when they wake up. So, and that's their whole life. And that's kind of crazy to me that, someone could do that. And then, you just have like homeless people in general, where they're just kind of existing. They're not working towards anything. They're not really providing any value in society. They're just surviving, and maybe the so-called work or the motivation is just to figure out a way to make some or get food for the day, just to eat and survive, find some shelter, not get sick or hurt or injured, or somehow stay out of the brutal heat in the summer and the terrible cold in the winter, and just survive. And that's all they worried about, and that's their life. And that's something that working folks like me that have a mortgage and that still have friends and family members that they help out and stay in touch with and all that. I have a lot more going on, and I couldn't imagine just my whole life just existing and surviving. I mean, that's part of it, part of why I have to work and accomplish things to survive as well, because I'd be homeless too if I didn't provide any value to people, which generates an income, which I then, of course, fund modern life. But that's about all I have the time and money for, is just a regular basic middle class, maybe even lower middle class life. I don't know how you define it. It's, I'm not doing too bad. I own a place and own a vehicle and own things, possessions, and I still like to do things for fun, go out with friends, and enjoy a lot of things on my own now. And that's basically my life. So, you kind of ponder and think about these things like, am I just on the road to nowhere? And I'm sure some of you in your 40s or even older can relate to that. And, being a bachelor, not having children, and not having that purpose or motivation. If I had kids now that were young or just approaching teenage years, I'd have a lot going on with them, that's for sure. And, it's probably too late, to think about that. Even just the financial burden they'd be on me at this point in my life would be pretty difficult. So the motivation changes. And I mean, when you're younger, if you're watching this, you're still in your 20s or whatever, and the motivation then is kind of tied to the fact you could have a family in your future, and that's why you work hard and graduate high school and get an education, a degree in university or whatever it is, a career, so that you can afford a better life and that you can afford to have children and raise those children and have aspirations of owning a home where you could raise your children in. And then that makes, if this happens, let's say in your late 20s, you still have 30, 40 years of that stuff to keep you going through life, to make life a little more interesting and sometimes more challenging, of course, and hardships and drama and all that stuff is going to happen when you have a family and you have a wife and children. You could get divorced, and that could be a nightmare on its own and something you have to dig yourself out of. And I really feel for guys that are in their 40s that had to go through a divorce and they lost, sometimes everything, sometimes only half their stuff, but even half can be devastating, and you gotta dig your way out of that, or get out from underneath that big, heavy, pounded dirt that is your divorce and your debt and all the stuff you have to earn back and work for. And generally, most divorces happen when people are in their 40s, from what I've read in statistics, although that's changing. People are getting divorced younger, and people are not even getting married anymore till they get older, so that's kind of interesting. Myself, I've never been married. I don't have a partner or a girlfriend or a wife or anything, so I guess that makes it easier in some ways, because I can just fend for myself and do what I need to do to survive without having to worry about another person that I'm sharing life with. And I can lean on some people, like my parents, or they're older now, but they'll hopefully still be around for a few more years. And whether it's, any type of support I need, I'm sure they can help a little bit, even though they, my mom's a retired janitor, so it's not like she actually has a lot of funds or resources to help me should I ever hit rock bottom or anything like that. But I'm hoping I never have to ask for that type of help. Like I say, I do have a skill set. I'm a tradesman. I have many years of experience. I have contacts, connections, so there'll always be some sort of work coming in, and I will do my best to weather the storm and maybe do a little better in the business. And once the condo is paid off, I can start paying off some other things. And that should keep me motivated. And I am motivated a lot of times, and it's just some days, like I said, it's like you're on a hamster wheel or the rat race, whatever you want to call it, and there's no, like, I don't feel like, every month I'm building towards something big. It's like every month I'm just, okay, I've lived to fight another month, and my bills are paid this month, and let's go on to the next one. And so I guess that's, definitely enough to get me out of bed and kick me in my arse, as you British people say. Or do Aussies say arse or os? Fucking ass. Fuck off. I love the Aussies on my channel too. That's awesome. I never thought I'd have people from Australia watching and commenting. So thank you. I'm kind of all over the place again, but yeah, I am motivated. I'm not motivated every day. And even if I lost like all motivation and all I did was sit at home, I mean, that wouldn't really be enjoyable, even though that would still technically be living life. I see people that all they do is chill out. Like even some people that work the 8 hours, and the rest of the time they're basically doing nothing. They're watching TV or sitting outside smoking a joint or a cigarette, or maybe chatting with a friend on the phone, and they don't really do much at all, and that's good enough for them. But I've never been that type of guy. I always feel like I have to be doing something not to fall kind of below a certain level, like I still go to the gym, just not so much that I'm going to be like this in this amazing shape. My mid 40s, I'm going to be completely jacked now. It's not going to happen without some gear or some supplements. But what motivates me to go in the gym is just to be in decent shape, so that I don't feel like a loser, like a slob, or don't want to get fat or affect my energy levels even worse than they are. So that motivates me to go in the gym. And also there is that little bit of hope, and there's that window where I can still be dating, and I want to put myself in a spot where I do meet someone, I'm kind of ready. I'm looking my best, or the best I can. Be as presentable as possible and be as physically fit as I can, just in case that moment happens. And I can't really accomplish that if I'm just sitting at home just existing. There's like always so much shit to do, and I do try to relax sometimes. Usually like very late in the evening is where everything's done and I relax for a couple hours. And sometimes I'll have like maybe once or twice a month like a very lazy Sunday where I really sleep in, and if I don't get any calls for work or anything, I'll sit at home for quite a while and not do much till later in the afternoon. And then the summertime too, like when the sun's out until right now it's like 9 p.m. and the sun is out. It doesn't get dark till like 10:30. So it just doesn't feel right to get home at like 5 or 6 and just stay in a apartment style condo while the weather's still really good. I'll get out and go for a walk in the park. I have a bunch of parks around me. Go for maybe a little jog, go for a run on the scooter, zip around on the scooter, hang out at the park, sit around, chill. I know some people in the neighborhood, sometimes I run into them and have a quick little chat, some human connection, some fresh air. I recommend all that to you people watching as well. If you feel lazy and you just feel down and unmotivated and you're just sitting around, if you live in like a nicer area and the weather's great and you got some parks or a lake or some hiking trails or anything that's kind of interesting or scenic around you, just get out and go for a walk, enjoy it. Just get out there, get some exercise. Don't be cooped up, or don't be buried like a mole in a basement or something. I don't really think that's healthy psychologically, but to each his own. Some have kind of given up and just been like, well, this is just my life now, and I'm just gonna live wherever I live, whether it's an apartment or your parents' basement or whatever you're doing. Or maybe you don't have any aspirations or ambitions of moving up whatever corporate ladder or industries you're in. Maybe you're just content with a regular 9-to-5 job with no upward mobility or anything. You're just happy where you are. And I understand also if you're not happy, you want to get better, and you're in your 40s like me, it is tougher, just from a physical standpoint. It could, sometimes our testosterone drops a little bit, and I'm actually doing some research into that to maybe get mine back up. Although I don't know if that's my issue, because I've always got my mind in the gutter that way. It's like sexual thought every 5 minutes. So not sure if low T is my problem, but yeah, just interesting stuff to think about. Like it does get tougher, and then also easier in some ways when you're older, because you're more experienced and you've seen everything, and you don't make the same mistakes as much. And you don't give a shit as much, which sometimes it's a good thing, to not be stressed out about what other people are thinking, and just do what you can within your power. Other than that, just drop it. People are gonna think what they want and can't really change their minds, so gotta do what's best for you. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you think about all that, staying motivated in middle age. Do you know what your life's purpose is? Is it just God's plan? Maybe He has a plan for all of us, and maybe life's not meant to be easy. Maybe that is part of God's plan for us to challenge ourselves to figure it out, because these struggles that we overcome and these mountains that we climb make whatever's on the top of the mountain worth it. You know, if things are just handed down to us, maybe we don't have a journey to look back on. There's no fight that we win. It's just we need to win fights. We need to exercise our demons, destroy our demons, overcome hurdles and roadblocks, and get to a place where, you know, I felt like we've accomplished something in life, and then we could look back on it and be proud. And yeah, maybe it's just not meant to be easy, and that's God's plan, like Drake says. God's plan. God only knows. And just remember, you know, you're not alone. I really like that. I was just gonna say we're in this together, and I guess we are in some ways. You know, I have a certain demographic that is, you know, most of my viewers that make up the majority that were, you know, a little bit older and single and whatever, bachelors. So we're in it together, but you know, we have everyone has their own individual situation, and I may be relatable to some people, but I probably won't be 100% because, you know, maybe you're in a different place, but we do need to help each other as much as we can, and try to be empathetic and not, like, you know, discredit or kind of just overlook somebody's advice or life experience just because it doesn't completely match yours. We could all learn from each other, and we can take certain bits and pieces of each other's life experience and try to put it together to help our own life, if that makes sense. So that's why I like people sharing their personal specific experiences and stories in the comments, or just making videos like this. And I've been trying to find some of those videos. So if you have a channel that talks about similar things, let me know. Maybe subscribe to me and I'll subscribe back. But anyways, I will leave it at that. I will be heading home now to take a bath probably and chill out the rest of the day. And shit, it may even be still light enough to go for another little walk outside. We'll see how I feel. Thanks again to all the new subscribers. Please leave a thumbs up, comment, let me know what you think, share this video, leave a super thanks, and just be sure that I am grateful for all of you that have been watching and continue to watch. God bless you. Peace. Have a good rest of the week. We'll see you later. Denny. Bye-bye.